give a very practical example. Um, in an environment like Canada and the UK and a few other and the US as well, an engineer, right, would earn I think about $80. Sorry, $80 per hour, all right. To be able to carry out any of your services, either as a mechanic or either as a plumber and as an electrician, whatever skill. Uh, but in Nigeria, it is a different ballgame. Now, why I mentioned that is to be able to earn $80 per hour in an environment like this, then you need to become you need to be in the C-suite level. That means you need to be like a director or executive director to be able to earn $80 per hour. But that's what these guys charge here. What the difference between these two environments is the value that I've placed on this nature of talent. And then in one environment is stereotyped, the other environment there's a big deal for it, and there's a formal formal way of keeping this talents, right? I would definitely use the word talent because of the space where I have my background in. Okay, so again, in just to mention a few other places where there's high demand for talents in the TVET space in Nigeria, also is the IT and communication space. There's a need for those engineers. And you will observe there's always this crash course around learn something on information tech. Sorry, yeah, anything on IT in 2 weeks, in 8 weeks. Organizations like NIIT provide such. Just to give some crash course, right, on that, and a few other organizations, right. And there's also there's also a high demand in the manufacturing sectors, especially in the area of textiles, food processing, assembly of cars, because it's quite growing right now. We see the likes of in Nissan. Is Nissan? Innocent, yeah. Forgive me, Innocent, yeah. That's growing, and then there's another one. These guys who are currently assembly cars now. There's not, and there's this other one who produce Meccano. Yeah, Meccano. Yeah, currently. And do you know what? The unfortunate side of it is that talents in this space are attracted from the Western world. That's the sad start. That's a sad story. I'm not happy that I've also contributed in that process in helping to attract such talent into Nigeria. Honestly, whilst I was in Nigeria, in the healthcare space, for example, there's a high demand also for medical. What are they called now? Medical technology. Sorry, I'll get the word down. They fix all the medical equipments, right? There's high demand for them as well. Unfortunately, again, biomedical engineers. Yes, I got that now. They also been attracted from India, from Middle East and Asia. That's where we attract them from. Okay, and of course in the agriculture and agro processing space as well. Lincoln mentioned that earlier. There's that high demand for that as well in that space, right? So my point is, there's need to also strengthen that awareness, right, of and that stereotyping, and that's one of the reasons why we exist. We want to strengthen the awareness. We want to be able to, of course, leverage on every other institutions, organizations who has been creating this awareness, and then see how we can support. For the Canada space, for example, the high demand roles here for the TVET space is in the healthcare space as well, where you have the radiology technicians, the lab technicians, right? And of course, there's a high demand also in the manufacturing sector. high demand for it, high. In fact, as we speak, in the express entry immigration pathway for immigration purposes, these guys are prioritized. Artisans are prioritized. If you go there now, you'll see roles like welders, plumbers. Unfortunately, so I met a Nigerian mechanic here who has. I mean, you wouldn't imagine what the guy wants in terms of assets. I imagine if he was back home, he will be able to boast of a quarter of what he already has right now. Right? There's also the high demand in the green energy space, because there's a lot of climate issues around, and so they always need a solar panelist, wind turbine technicians, and of course energy efficiency specialists, right? There's also that demand for high IT professionals as well. Again, cybersecurity, software developers, network administrators, which is we also have that in Nigeria, but unfortunately, again, a bunch of those IT professionals there in Nigeria also are migrating to the Western world, which is leaving a brain drain in Nigeria. Again, Artiskill also exists, just to reproduce reproduce talent in that space for the gap that has been created for those that have migrated away from Nigeria. All right. And then there's a lot of government initiatives here to support this space. They made it they formalized the entire space. It's a demand, sorry, it's a desirable career here, right? When Nigeria, if you come home and say you're bringing, if your sibling would bring a guy home and say he's getting married to a welder, I'm sure she will have some concerns. But here, it's a big deal. I mean, if you come home and say you want to get married to a welder, a plumber, then I think the family will be very happy that you made the right choices, because they are better paid in this environment. Okay, I think I'll just put a stop to that at the moment, and then we can come back and expand a bit more on it in the interest of time. Thank you, Tunde.
All right, thank you very much, Dari. People, you heard Dari. The opportunities are endless, in paid employment, in entrepreneurial opportunities. I should mention as well, that we have several partnerships in the making, or we have several partnerships down. We're partnered with international organizations who are supporting the TVET space. We're partnered with government institutions as well. So I should mention that we do have several partnerships in place as well. So to add to what Dari and Lekon has said, it's important to open your eyes to the successes that are apparent, in the TVET space. I know of a furniture maker that does north of 200 million every year, and that's just in revenue. And I will tell you that that furniture maker is small time. You will not call him a big player at all in the industry. I know people who handle industrial machines. These guys, they make money hand over fist. They make millions weekly. I'm talking as far back as 2007. I'm not talking about what is happening today. You understand? I mean, when you go to government offices, you go to big offices, for instance, they have generators that are as big as houses. It is not aliens that come to fix these things. They are people like you and I, and they lent these spaces. I know demolition experts, that make millions every month. I know several people that make millions every month. So when people look at TVET space, let's even take the fashion space, for